Revere, and welcome to the Revere Veterans and Community Show. I have two great guests here. I have Miss Nicolette Deveau, who's a medical assistant at Mass General Hospital. Welcome, Nicolette.
Thank you.
An honor to have you here. And over there I have Mr. Ed Deveau, who's a former host of the RevereTV. Welcome back, Ed.
It's my pleasure. It's always great to be with you, Morris.
Thank you. But before we start, I'd like to do two things, if I may, and then I will turn it over to you. These will be real quick. Today, as we all know, is Vietnam Veterans Day, and I, as a World War II veteran, would like to thank each and every Vietnam veteran who's out there, and every veteran, for their service. Thank you. And the second thing is, the Senior Center is going to have an open house sometimes in May, and please stay tuned, and you'll get further details next month. So the Senior Center will have an open house in May, and we will let you know what's going on. And now back to Nicolette. It's all yours, Nicolette. Tell us about your work at Mass General Hospital and also about you running in the marathon.
Yes, this year I decided that I was going to run in the Boston Marathon. I had applied for a bib number through the BAA and the Mass General PD Oncology team, and they accepted me onto the team. It was definitely overwhelming at first. You know, never ran a marathon.
Oh, that's great.
But it's definitely an honor. The journey over the last 4 months, training and running, has become, you know, huge. I love it.
So tell us about it, how the training goes by.
The training goes by, I mean, they start you off slow. I've never run a marathon before, so this is my first marathon. I've done, you know, little 5Ks and 10Ks, half marathon. So they start you off slow, and they give you like a program to follow every, you know, week. You know, you increase your training as well as, you know, you do some cross training, and then we graduate to our longer runs on the weekends. This last weekend, I spent down the Cape with my family for Easter weekend, and so I didn't get to participate in our team long run, but I still did my own long run down Cape Cod. It was a long 17.2 miles alone, but I got to run into the Easter Bunny. I got to take a picture with him, so it was pretty awesome.
That's pretty good. Now, Ed, I want to get back to you for a minute. You, as a former RevereTV host, what have you been doing since you retired from television?
Oh, I've taken a sabbatical. I maybe haven't retired yet completely, but I've taken a sabbatical and doing actually busy with my work, my job. It's carried me around to a lot of different places, so I've been active in other things, and working with Nicolette on helping to raise money for this marathon that she's going to be running. And Nicolette, talk about why you're running. I think that's the really important part of this story.
You and I have something in common, which is very sad. We both lost our sons due to cancer.
Absolutely.
And you're running for your son, so please tell us about that.
I am. I'm running in honor of my son, Reggie, who would have been 10 this year. He passed away 5 years ago from a cancer called neuroblastoma. It's a pretty aggressive childhood cancer that has very limited, like if you don't beat this cancer the first time, it's basically terminal. Mass General was great.
Oh yeah, they're one of the best in the country.
Yeah, and they make you really feel like your family there when you're a patient there. So being able to, Reggie was on, he was partnered up with a Mass General marathon runner back in, I think it was 2012, and no, sorry, because he passed away in 2011. It was the spring of 2011. And then, it was just an incredible experience being able to go up to Heartbreak Hill. One of the doctors has a house there, and he opens it up to all the families and the kids, and we get to go, and we made signs for our runners and cheered them on, and just seeing what they went through in that training, being able to give that back is incredible. I've recently got a lot more into fitness myself, so when I got the opportunity, I was like, I can totally do it. And I guess we'll see come April 18th, but I'm very confident in being able to run it and be able to give back to the community that helped me out so much and helped my son out, and be able to give back to those kids that are still battling and their parents.
That's wonderful of you. And you're also starting an organization, or you already started it. Could you tell us about that, if people would like to donate and help you in any way they can?
Absolutely. I started an organization in my son's honor right after he had passed away, and it didn't take off as large as I want, but what I do now every year is I do different fundraisers. I've done 2 boxing charity events where I've raised large amounts of money.
You said boxing?
Boxing, yes.
You don't mean...
Yes.
She's actually trained.
I'm going to be very nice to you today. Very nice. Go right ahead.
Yes, I've done 2 large boxing events and raised a significant amount of money, one called the Haymakers for Hope and one for Lights Out for Leukemia. And then the Boston Marathon, as I said, was after my first boxing event, and I realized, like, I can do this. I was like, I could totally run the marathon. So that's when I decided that, you know, that was my goal. That became one of my main goals. And when I got the opportunity, I jumped on it, and here I am.
Are you
ready.
looking for an agent?
So the fundraising we do, people can make donations.
Yeah, tell them where they can mail it to or how to get it to you.
The Mass General donations can go to Mass General Department. They would go to, be made out to Mass General, and you would put my name in the memo, and we have the address. And then I'm also doing a fundraiser on April 10th for anybody that would want to come out to the fundraiser. It's at the Moose Lodge right down the street on Broadway, and it's from 4 till about 10 o'clock. And there's going to be raffles and all kinds of stuff, some food, music, and it's going to be a great time. And all those proceeds go to my marathon efforts and my goal there, so,
Right,
which
so
all goes to Mass General.
So that's the one located right across the street from Rite Aid.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so we'd like to see a big crowd there, Ed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to raise awareness about the work she's doing, but more importantly, all the things that Nikki's been doing over the 5 years since his little Red has passed on has been trying to raise awareness and money to support the children and the families that need it so badly. It's
I
just
agree with
incredible.
you. You know what would be a good idea if it's possible? Is there going to be on a Sunday, you said?
It is a Sunday.
Maybe we could get RevereTV if they would like to come down and set up their cameras there and
We
do a
could
good film
possibly.
and have the people come in and show what they contribute.
Yeah.
I don't mean how much they contribute, but show that they are contributing. I
That'd be
think that would be a
Yeah,
good
that would be
idea.
nice. That would be very nice.
That would be super.
Right, I'll
awesome.
speak to the big boss. Now, Ed, I'd like to have you spend a few minutes
Sure.
and tell us what you really do now. I mean, you know, you were a great host here.
I
believe
can't
me.
tell you that,
You were my
Mark, because
tutor.
I'd
I
have to
used to
kill you.
watch you.
I'm-
I used to watch you, and I would see how you talk, and I try to emulate
yes, you know, I mean, as everybody knows that I talked to over the years, I mean, I love RevereTV. RevereTV is in my bones.
you. I
in
know
my
that.
blood.
I know that.
It took a lot for me to take the time off that I did last year, and hopefully I'll be able to come back and contribute, you know, going forward. I really enjoyed being with it, but for now, my career, my consulting practice has gotten pretty hectic and pretty active. So I've been doing a lot of traveling, you know, working. Still work in the community with the Beach Bond Improvement Committee. I'm still very active with them, and different community activities. So I'm not far away, but I'm not as active as I was before.
I got to tell you, you and Miss Debbie DiGiulio.
Debbie DiGiulio, yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
we're two great hosts on
Yeah.
here. She is now the assistant to Mayor Brian Arrigo, the secretary of City Hall, and that is doing a beautiful job. I got to say, a beautiful lady doing a beautiful job. So that fits.
Oh, we had a
very-
great time doing those the news shows. Frankly, that was a lot of fun. The two of us, and doing the sandcastles down the beach. And every once in a while, I get to step into a little piece of that, you know. But like I said, it's a smaller role now.
Right. Can you tell us, just for a few minutes, some of the great guests that you had up here? Some of the, maybe like veterans, like Medal of Honors, or
People like yourself.
no, I said great guests.
Well, you know, and that was the fun part of doing the news show. It was having people, you know, like Nikki, who come on to talk about the things that they're doing. Who was the woman, and forgive me for, who raised all the money to put the...
Eileen Marillo.
Thank you.
I know what you were going to say.
Incredible guest, you know. So having people like that to showcase that the work that they're doing was really the fun part of that. And you do a lot of that. I mean, with
Well,
your shows. By the way, how many shows have you done now? Do you
Almost
know?
260.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I started as a teenager. No, I've had some great guests on here myself. I've had Congressional Medal of Honors. I've had Mr. Paul Monty. I'm sure you know who he is.
Yep.
He lost his son in Afghanistan in 2006. He was given the Medal of Honor by President Obama. And sad, so we help him out by raising money for flags for Bourne, you know, the soldiers that are buried up in the Bourne National Cemetery
Yes.
for the veterans, and we do that. Nicole, I want to get back to you, if I may.
Okay.
Tell us a little about your education, your growing up, and I know it's sad about the kids because we both lost a son, and you know, it's something that always stays in the back of your mind, and it takes years to calm down, but you'll never forget about it. That I can tell you right
Absolutely.
now. But tell us a little about your childhood.
I'm Revere, well, not born and raised. I was born in Colorado, but basically raised in Revere schools my whole life. I went to college, decided...
Which college did you go to?
I went to North Shore Community College, studied in human services and health science, and then I decided that that's when I wanted to get into the medical field because I love working with people, and as much as I love retail, I wanted to be able to help people. So then I got into the medical field, and I have worked now 9 years as a medical assistant. And I'm actually recently started training for the fire department because I would like to become one of, you know, the Revere firefighters, hopefully Revere, but...
You mean like an EMT?
No, actual firefighter. So I'm going through the civil service process now. I just passed my physical abilities test, and I take the written test on the 16th of April, which is 2 days before the marathon. Thank you.
She could carry you out of a building.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. That's good. And let me ask you, is becoming a firewoman,
Yes.
I was going to say fireman, but is that the right word, firewoman?
I guess you could
Firefighter,
call
I
it.
guess,
I would
is
call it
the
a
word they might
firefighter.
use. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, firewoman.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a lot of hard training to go through, if I may ask you?
It is a lot of hard training. I mean, you have to be...
How many weeks, et cetera?
Well, the training to be able to pass the physical abilities test, I mean, they say that you should train for at least 16 weeks of like hardcore actual training between running and lifting, conditioning, which luckily for me, being a boxer and training for the marathon, I kind of have that advantage. But if I do actually get, you know, picked up by a fire department, I would have to go through the academy, which is going to be several months of hard training, and then I would have to pass another physical abilities test.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and it's just, you know, I'm prejudiced. I'm her uncle.
No, go ahead, Ed.
But you know, I can't say enough about the stamina, the perseverance, and that Nikki has in terms of everything that she's dealt with in her life and all of the different things that she's come back with. Many, as I think I said in one of my little things, is that many other people would have folded up the tent a long time ago. She's made her tent bigger, and she just keeps coming back every challenge she faces head on, and does an incredible job overcoming the various challenges that she runs into. So that's why I'm here today, you know, and thank you for doing this show, because there's nobody more deserving than Nikki at this point for the help and the support to meet her goals for this marathon that she's going to be running.
That's good. I got to tell you something I saw on TV, Nikki, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, because I might have been an error when I said this. They had two great doctors on Fox News Sunday, and they were talking about, in the future, about robotics actually taking care of patients. Not, I mean, real people, but robotics doing it. Have you ever heard about that?
I have not heard about it, but I'm a firm believer that that's probably going to happen at some point. Just seeing how healthcare is going now and how almost...
No, can you imagine being replaced by a bunch of bolts and nuts? I mean, actually...
It's truly amazing. I happened to see an article on TV not too long ago, and in my practice, I've been doing a lot of work in hospitals, so I can see the advances they're making in terms of the mechanization, the computerization of all the care that patients get. It is just incredible.
Really
We have another great person in the city of Revere. I don't know if you might not know him, but I think you do. George Rotundo, our
Yes.
counselor.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
He's a nurse up at...
Yeah, George
Women's
was
Brigham.
very active in some of the fundraisers
Absolutely.
that we've had in the
He's a
past.
huge supporter of
Yes.
mine,
Oh,
as
is
I
he?
am of his.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you, George.
Yes,
Let me tell you,
thank you.
George
Exactly.
does a terrific job. But he was talking about drugs. Now, when you work in Mass General Hospital, tell us some of the patients that you see coming in for the different problems that they have there.
There's a lot of problems, and it's really hard being in the medical field and dealing with patients that have chronic pain or that come in for surgery procedures, because they do easily, I mean, medications are very easily addicted, and it's hard, and you have to really monitor. So Massachusetts luckily has come down really hard on the drug policies and what's allowed, and they monitor the prescriptions as a prescriber or provider that can prescribe. They have to monitor all the patients. They do a check on the patients to see how many prescriptions they've gotten and stuff like that. So it is a huge epidemic, and providers are very aware of what it is, and we're trying as a community to help the patients that are in that are addicted, as well as help patients with pain but not get addicted.
For the people that don't know, and if you don't know it, no problem with it. When I had Mr. Rotundo up here, Councilor Rotundo, he mentioned something about Narcan.
Yes.
Could you elaborate a little bit more what that is?
I am trained in Narcan.
You are?
It is something that we have. You don't really need huge training on it, but it is something that anybody can administer. But being in the medical field, we all have to have one in our first aid, first response box. I also carry Narcan in my first aid kit that I have in my car.
Explain to the people, we don't have a sample of it here, what it's like.
What Narcan is it's a substance that you have, and there's a nozzle that you attach to the end of the syringe.
Right, he showed us that.
Yep, and you spray it into one nostril. You wait, a period of time, and then you would spray the rest of it into the other nostril. Yes. A lot of patients that have overdosed and that take that when you give them the Narcan, they do have a quite spastic reaction when they first come out of, basically being in a coma, because that's basically what they are. They're near death. So it is, you're definitely, if you do administer Narcan to somebody, you should have already called 911, and hopefully that they are on their way by the time that the person is going to respond.
So you would be great for the fire department where you know all this stuff
Yes.
ahead of time. That's terrific.
Thank you.
Now that Narcan, they can buy that over the counter, or they need a prescription?
You don't need a prescription for it, I do not believe. We get access to it being in the medical field. I know some of the local police officers are encouraging people in the community to be trained in it and to carry it with them. It's not anything that is harmful. You can't be harmed by giving it to somebody that is not overdosing. So it is definitely something that people should have, especially if you're one, as I said, I carry a first aid kit in my car. I have
you
a CPR.
carry Narcan in that first?
Yeah, and I have a CPR mask as well. And
Beautiful.
just whenever I can help someone, I want to. So.
No, that's great.
That's incredible.
That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
One of the questions that I had is talk a little bit about the team. We talk about the oncology team and the hematology team from MGH that's going to be running. It's not just you running. There's a number of other people that are also raising money.
By the
about
way,
what happens with the money.
Could you just move your hair a little so people can see that nice, beautiful sign there where it says "Run for MGH"?
Yeah.
Yes. So there is a large team of us. There's over 100 of us that are part of the MGH team. I think it's around 150.
That are running in the marathon?
Yes, and that's just for MGH. There's over 30,000 people that run the marathon. I know, it's crazy. I said the same thing. How many people could really want to run that?
I thought I heard you say 30,000.
Yes, over
How
30,000
do you
people.
all start off at the same time?
No, they start you off in different waves. So there's wheelchair people, and there's other disabilities, then the elite runners, and then all of us crazy people that do it for either just for fun or to be on a team.
For a cause.
Yeah.
So what do? Repave the road after you people?
They set us off in 4 different waves. Luckily, I'm the last wave, so I get to sleep in a little bit later than some of the other runners that morning. But there are 150 MGH marathon runners. There's probably, I think, 110 of us that are on the PD oncology team. Then there's some that are on the emergency department, and then there's a couple of others that are just running, on behalf of MGH. All of the money that the PD oncology team raises goes directly to the oncology department, and it helps patients get treatment. It helps with resources while they're going through treatment, like music therapy, pet therapy. They offer massage and acupuncture, and all of that is pro bono. There's no charge for patients and family members, like parents and siblings, to have these services. So the money has to come from somewhere.
Right.
Some patients come from out of country. Other patients, they come from out of state to get treated, and they have to go and stay at a place like the Ronald McDonald House. Boston's is something different. Luckily, me being local, I was able to stay home other than our inpatient stays. But all of that, we raise the money for research as well. A lot of the funding goes to research, and they say that 99 cents of every dollar raised goes directly to the cause.
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic.
It's awesome.
You would like to say something to thank the Vietnam veterans? Remember we discussed
Yes,
that?
we did, and you know it's interesting. My brother's a Vietnam vet, and you know,
thank him for his service.
Really, and I've known a number of Vietnam vets. Unfortunately, I was not able to go over. I wanted to, but I couldn't go.
But you're a community veteran,
yeah.
and so are you. And that's an honor in itself.
But you know it's interesting in every war. You know the wars that you fought in World War One.
No, I wasn't in World War One.
I know, but you go World War One, World War Two. Any of the wars, it's tough to come back from. And you know one of the toughest things I think, and we've talked about this before when we had the wall.
Right, the
down at
Vietnam
the
Wall.
VFW, the Vietnam Wall down at the VFW, and,
Right.
and you know the sad part of it is that every veteran coming back. You know, they don't get enough thanks. They don't get enough support. They don't get enough service, and so you know, the more you do, the more you speak about it, you know, the better I think, because they do deserve it.
Nicole, I got to tell you, I was curious because I thought I was a youngster getting into the Second World War at 17 and a few months. And I went to Google and I looked up who was the youngest World War II veteran. And if I tell you this, you're not going to believe me, but look it up yourself. It was a gentleman by the name of Graham was his last name. Guess how old he was when he went in?
I want to say 16 because I think you maybe told me this once before.
No?
No?
Take a guess.
15.
Little younger.
Really?
Younger than 15?
Yep, take a guess.
Wow.
I'll give you one more guess.
13?
One more year lower.
Wow.
12?
Right, went in at 12 years old. And I looked it up. I thought I was misreading it, so I
He
checked
must have
the
been a
place.
big 12-year-old.
He was. The youngest World War II veteran to go in.
Wow.
Right.
That's incredible.
But you must get a lot of veterans going into the hospital, especially today, because most of the World War II veterans are usually in their late 80s or or in the 90s.
yes, a lot of the patients that I see and that I deal
Do
with
you
are
get a lot of
veterans.
post-traumatic stress disorder people coming in there?
We have some that, they're not that we treat them for that, but they do suffer from it. It is, in their medical history. And I mean, going through war, I couldn't imagine. I know going through what I went through, a lot of parents have post-traumatic stress. I've kind of channeled my
wife had that
stress
too when
into
my son
other
passed away,
things.
yep.
But I couldn't imagine going through war and not coming out without some form of post-traumatic stress.
Well, we talked about your son, may he rest in peace, but you also have a lovely daughter, am I correct?
Yes, I do.
Can you give her name?
Her name is Brooklyn. She's 7, and she's my biggest fan.
Is that her real name, Brooklyn?
Brooklyn is her real name.
You know, like I mentioned to you, I come from Brooklyn, and I left Brooklyn to come to America. But I see Brooklyn. Oh, Brooklyn, can you come over here for a minute? I want you to stand behind your uncle.
Come over here.
Say hello to the people over here. Brooklyn, look at that camera and say hello.
Hello.
So how are you doing in school?
Good.
What class are you in?
What grade are you in?
First,
What school do you go to?
Paul Revere School.
That's a fantastic school, Paul Revere School.
Yep.
You know who it's named after? You got it, Paul Revere.
That's a trick question.
Very good.
I love you.
So, Brooklyn, welcome to America.
Say thank you.
Do you run with your mother when she trains?
No.
No? She gets up too early to go in?
She doesn't like to run. She
Yeah.
will box all day long with me, but she does not like to
If you
run.
were growing up at my age at 21, let's say, right? What would you like to be?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A doctor, a nurse, a fireman, a policeman, a pilot, a billionaire?
I don't know.
You're a
Too
smart
young to
kid.
decide now,
Yeah,
right?
I
she's too
still
busy
don't know
being
what
a
I'm
kid
going to
right
be
now.
when I grow up. Okay,
know.
we have about 4 minutes left. Take a minute plus to close it, and then you take a minute. Just leave me 1 minute.
Well, again, and I don't want to steal Nicole's thunder, and
No, go right
Nicolette's,
ahead.
excuse me.
Thank
My daughter's
you,
name is
Brooklyn.
Nicole, and I always do that.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
I don't want to steal Nicolette's thunder, and she'll talk about it. But primarily the reason why we're here and the reason why I'm here is to support her and her effort. And I can't say enough, as I said earlier, about how important it is to try and give her your support if you can. I know there's a lot of other people, running in this marathon, running for good causes, and you may be supporting some of them. God bless you if you are, and
Good.
thank you. But if you're not and you're able to, you know, give Nicolette some support. She's well deserving.
And like
of
she
it.
said, 99% of every dollar goes for the cause, which is fantastic. That's
Exactly.
more. That's
Absolutely.
usually a lot more than some of the others.
Exactly.
As you've seen on TV, what some of the others have done with the money.
Yeah.
But I got to say to each one, go ahead, Nicole, you take a minute or so to say
I just
what
want to
you-
thank you for this opportunity to be able to come out and share my story and be able to share a lot of the efforts that I'm making into the community of, you know, the hospitals, the children, and, you know, even within our city, just trying to be able to make, you know, a stance and get people involved without knowledge and without awareness. You know, there will be no cures, there will be no research, and I mean, I focus a lot towards children because of my son, and children are our future. So we got to stand up for what you believe in, no matter what the cause is.
Right. By the way, just your son and your daughter, those were the only two kids you had?
Yes.
Oh, that's got a lovely daughter there.
She definitely keeps me on my
Brooklyn?
toes.
So before we close, I want to say, Mr. Deveau, thank you for
course.
coming on the show. It was
It's
an honor
always
and a
my
pleasure to
pleasure.
have you here. And I hope you come back as a regular host.
Someday
And you,
I do plan
Nicolette,
to.
I want to thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Morris.
taking the time because I know you're a busy lady, a mother, and I want to thank you for coming up. And
Thank you
before
so
we
much,
close,
Morris.
I would like to say a few things, if I may. Today was Vietnam Veterans Day. The Vietnam veterans, when they came back to the States, did not get the credit they deserve.
Amen.
But we're giving it to you better late than never. So I want to thank each and every Vietnam veteran, each and every veteran who's serving our country. Thank you for your service. And just a reminder that there'll be a special open house in May at the Revere Senior Center. And you'll be getting more news on that on the Revere News Show coming up in the month of May. And then again, God bless you, Ed, for coming on. God bless you, Nicole, for coming on. And Brooklyn, God bless you and take good care of you. And to all you people out there, thank you. And thank all our servicemen. Thank America. And thank the people of Revere. But most of all, God bless our great country, the United States of America. And thank you.